Welcome back, everybody. We're diving deep today into the world of a fascinating guy, Guy Lakeman.
Fascinating is definitely one word for him.
Yeah, and we've got this pile of material on him, professional profiles, some academic papers, even some personal blog posts. It's almost like a puzzle.
Yeah, it's like we're piecing together a picture of this guy's life from all these different angles, you know?
Right. And from what I've seen so far, it's not a simple picture. I mean, this guy's done a lot of different
Yeah,
things.
he has. Our mission today is to try and figure out who Guy Lakeman is, what makes him tick, and honestly, I'm hoping we can learn something along the way.
Me too. Because one thing's for sure, Guy is not afraid to jump between worlds. We're
Yeah,
talking advanced physics, broadcasting, and now it seems he's all about eco resorts.
right. That's what really drew me to this deep dive. This guy, he's got this intellectual restlessness, always pushing boundaries, always exploring new territory.
Exactly. So let's start at the beginning. King's College, London. Pretty prestigious, right? But his degree wasn't just one subject. He studied a mix of nuclear physics, astrophysics, communications theory, ICT. What?
It's like he's building this broad base of knowledge from the get-go. Most people would specialize, but not Guy.
And you know what else is funny? On his Facebook page, he lists his university activities. Social secretary, student union, boozing in bar, sexual exploits and lifts. Good
He
times.
definitely seems to have a sense of humor about himself, not afraid to poke fun at his younger days.
Okay, so from the halls of academia, we jump into the world of broadcast engineering. Early career, pretty traditional technician at RCA Jersey Limited, then Ewart Television Limited.
But even these early roles, he's working with cutting-edge technology. Video timecode editing systems, then SDI systems, which, for those who don't know, are a high-definition way to transmit video signals.
And get this, he worked on the very first music video played on MTV. Video Killed the Radio Star by the Bugles. That video, it kind of announced the arrival of a whole new era of music.
It's almost like foreshadowing, isn't it? At the very beginning of his career, Guy's involved in something that completely disrupts the music industry.
Wow, yeah. So maybe those diverse academic interests weren't just random. He's like building a foundation for thinking differently, seeing how technology can reshape industries.
Right. And as his career progresses, this pattern just continues. He becomes a senior project engineer at Thames Television, managing big projects, rising through the ranks.
He was also an ACTT shop steward and health and safety officer. ACTT is basically a trade union for television professionals.
So even then, he's not just thinking about the technology, he's thinking about the people too.
Right. And then, bam, he starts his own company, Lakeman Projects Limited, international consulting for major broadcasting companies, Wharf Cable in Hong Kong, CNBC in Singapore, Astro in Malaysia.
This guy's got an appetite for new experiences, new cultures.
Big time. And he wasn't shy about his consulting style. He actually described it on LinkedIn as arse kicking of suppliers and management alike.
Definitely someone who values honesty and directness, even if it ruffles some feathers.
Okay, so we're starting to see a pattern, right? Brilliant technically, driven, not afraid to speak his mind. But then things take a turn. His LinkedIn profile now lists his focus as Seaside Eco Aquaponic Resort Systems Planning.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher at first, from a high-powered broadcasting consultant to .eco resort planner.
What's the deal with that?
It seems like a big shift, but if we think about it, that physics background probably comes in handy when you're dealing with solar, wind, all that stuff involved in sustainable living.
So maybe it's not a complete break from his past, more like he's applying his expertise in a totally new way.
Yeah, it's like he took all that knowledge of systems, all that technical brilliance, and said, okay, how can I use this to create something good for the planet, good for people, something maybe even a little bit rebellious? Okay, that actually makes sense. But we're just scratching the surface here. To really understand Guy, we need to dive into his online presence, right? His
Yeah.
blog posts, YouTube videos, all that stuff where he really lets loose.
That's where we'll get a sense of his personality, his worldview. And
Mhm.
trust me, it's going to be interesting.
All right, let's do it. Let's see what this Guy Lakeman is really all about. Okay, so we've got this picture of Guy as a tech wizard, a bit of a rebel, but now he's all about eco resorts. What do these places actually look like? What's his vision?
Well, his LinkedIn profile mentions something called Club Meth Ode Eco Resort, which is, well, it's an interesting name.
Club Method. Yeah, that's not exactly what I picture when I think eco resort.
It's definitely Guy, though, right? Provocative, playful, He seems to like pushing buttons.
For sure. But what does he actually say about these resorts? What's the deal?
Well, he throws around a lot of terms. Solar, wind, graphene, aquaponics. He's not just talking about a hotel on a beach. It's more like creating a whole self-sustaining ecosystem.
Wait, graphene? Isn't that like a super material or something? What's that doing in an eco resort?
Exactly. It's a cutting-edge material with all sorts of potential uses. Energy storage, water purification, even building materials. Guy is clearly thinking about incorporating the latest technology to make these resorts as efficient as possible.
So it's like a high-tech, off-the-grid oasis. Sign me up. But I'm also curious about the social aspect. He talked about creating a sanctuary for people who reject city life, right?
He describes it as a place for natural country folk who want to escape polluted minds and bodies. It's almost like a refuge from the stresses of modern life, a place to reconnect with nature and simpler ways of living.
I get it. But it's kind of funny, right? He's using all this cutting-edge tech to create a space that's all about getting back to basics.
It's one of those contradictions that makes Guy so fascinating. Tech whiz who embraces simplicity. Outspoken critic with a collaborative spirit. He seems to be comfortable holding those two things at the same time.
So maybe these eco-resorts are about more than just escaping the city. Maybe it's about redefining what it means to live well in a world that's increasingly chaotic.
Right. Maybe it's a lesson for all of us, you know? It's not about rejecting technology altogether. It's about using it in a way that benefits us, benefits the planet.
Okay, so we've got the eco-resort vision, but we've also got this stack of publications, academic papers, lecture notes, even something called a page of rants. Where do we even begin with this stuff?
Well, those rants, as he calls them, are actually pretty insightful. He's got opinions on everything. Politics, economics, climate change. He doesn't hold back.
Yeah, some of his opinions are definitely out there. He's got some strong views on dirty cities, and he's pretty skeptical of government data when it comes to climate change.
He is definitely a contrarian thinker. He questions everything. And you know what? I kind of appreciate that. It's refreshing.
Yeah, it is. It's good to be challenged, to think critically about the things we might take for granted.
And even when he's being provocative, there's this self-awareness about him. In his Guy Lakeman, the professional biography, he calls himself a blip, borderline important personality.
A BLI. Haha, that's great. So he's in on the joke. He knows how he comes across. But underneath all that, there's this genuine desire to understand the world, to make things better.
Right. He's not just complaining. He's offering different perspectives. He's trying to make a difference. And speaking of making a difference, let's not forget his entrepreneurial side. All those companies he started, the consulting project.
Oh yeah, we kind of skimmed over that. There was Convergence Consultants, the Convergence Company, ZG Consulting. It's like he can't sit still.
And it's interesting because even though these ventures span different fields, there's a common thread. Systems thinking. Analyzing problems, finding solutions.
He described one consulting role as arse-kicking of suppliers and management alike. Sounds like he brought that same energy to every project.
He's definitely not afraid of confrontation.
Yeah.
But it always seems to come from a place of wanting to do things right, to hold people accountable, to make things better.
Okay, so we've got the brilliant, maybe a little volatile entrepreneur, but then there's this one line on his LinkedIn that really threw me. Turf accountant bookie back in the late 60s. A bookie. Seriously.
Definitely unexpected. But if we think about it, a bookie has to understand odds, probabilities, risk.
So maybe this early experience actually shaped his thinking about systems, about how to analyze and predict outcomes.
Exactly. Might seem random, but maybe it planted the seed for his later work, his fascination with complex systems.
Wow, okay. I'm starting to see how all these pieces of his life might actually fit together. It's like he's been collecting experiences, skills, perspectives, and building his own unique way of seeing the world.
And that's what makes him so compelling. He's not afraid to be different, to challenge the norm, to forge his own path.
All right, we've covered his professional life, his entrepreneurial ventures, his, let's say, colorful opinions. But there's one more piece of the puzzle. His online presence, his blog, his YouTube channel, places where he really lets loose.
And that's where we're going to see the real Guy Lakeman. Unfiltered, unapologetic. Should be a fun ride.
Let's do it. Okay, so we've seen the tech side of Guy, the entrepreneur, the eco-warrior, the, let's say, opinionated side. But to really get him, maybe we need to go back even further, like to his roots.
To his beginnings, yeah. And his education's a good place to start. His Facebook profile mentions Victoria College, Jersey, a pretty traditional English school. He even jokes about it being graduate acne preparatory.
Oh, that's so Guy. Always with the jokes. But even back then, he was involved in a ton of stuff. Swimming, diving, sailing, shooting, even gliding with the combined cadet force.
Oh, it's like he's got this endless energy, this thirst for new experiences. And those skills from the Cadet Force discipline and strategic thinking, that stuff probably stuck with him.
Definitely. It's like he was building this foundation, without even realizing it.
And then from there, he goes to King's College London. Remember that crazy mix of subjects? Nuclear physics, astrophysics, communications. It's almost like he was choosing things that didn't fit together on purpose.
Yeah, it's like he was challenging himself to see the connections, the bigger picture.
Right. And that's where his systems thinking comes in. It's not just about knowing a lot of stuff. It's about understanding how things connect, how systems work. That's powerful stuff.
So we've got the education piece. But what about his values? Like, what drives this guy?
Well, one thing that's clear is his passion for sustainability. It's not just a business opportunity for him. It seems way deeper than that. He's always talking about connecting with nature, building systems that work with the planet, not against it.
And remember how he talked about those eco-resorts as a refuge for people who are tired of the city, the polluted minds and bodies. It's not just about the environment for him. It's about something more.
Yeah, he's definitely concerned about the state of the world, how modern life is affecting us. And those eco-resorts, it's like his way of offering a different path.
It's like he's saying, hey, there's another way to live, a better way.
Right. And it's not about rejecting progress. It's about using our knowledge, our technology, to create something better for everyone.
Okay, so we've got sustainability, this sense of community, and let's not forget that rebellious streak.
The guy definitely likes to shake things up. He's not afraid to challenge authority, speak his mind, even when it's uncomfortable. And that takes guts,
Totally. And it's not just about being provocative for the sake of it. He seems genuinely driven by this desire to understand things, to expose what he sees as wrong, to make people think.
Yeah, and I think that's something we can all learn from Guy, whether we agree with his opinions or not. It's about being willing to question our own assumptions, to have those difficult conversations, to be open to different perspectives.
As we wrap this up, I'm feeling kind of inspired, honestly. Like, if this guy can reinvent himself so many times, challenge the status quo, build the life around what he believes in, maybe we can too, right?
I think so. Guy's story is a reminder that there's not one right way to live.
Yeah.
It's about finding your own path, embracing what makes you unique, and never being afraid to push the boundaries a little.
So to all our listeners out there, keep exploring, keep questioning, and hey, maybe someday we'll be doing a deep dive on your fascinating and unconventional life.
Until next time, everybody.